Hey, greetings, brothers and sisters. How you doing? Shout out to all the real people out there. Shout out to all the people who stand for something. Blessings to each and every one, man. How you all doing? Yes, yes. All right, people. Blessings, blessings. You know, a lot is going on right now. A lot of stuff is actually going on right now, and I don't know for everyone, but I try to pay attention to what is going on. Wait, let me turn on. Yes. I try to pay attention to what is going on, and what I've noticed, so many things happening these days. We gotta be very mindful, man, because guys, I'm telling you, it's not getting no easier. And as we can see, things is definitely changing. It's no guess. Things is definitely changing. So all I can say, man, be mindful, pay attention to what is happening, to what is actually going on. You know, garden season for a lot of people is over. For a lot of people, garden season is over. But for some people, it's never over. Because a lot of people sometimes grow food indoors. A lot of people have their greenhouse. So, people try to keep plants alive. People try to, you know, like plants they have outdoors that they know the frost gonna destroy. They bring them indoors. And bringing them indoors is also another challenge because you have to make sure that these plants able to survive. If you bring them indoors, you got to make sure. Oh, hey, welcome, guys. Welcome. I'm not. Oh man, I'm. Hey, hello, God Desire. Hello, everyone. I'm barely seeing it just popping up on the screen and just disappear. But welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And guys, don't forget to hit that like button. I will truly appreciate it. Yes, this is actually garden season for me and for many people. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Appreciate you guys here. All right. Yes, so this is garden season for me and still for a lot of people. Our garden season never over because we always try to prep and prepare for the spring. Like for now, I'm actually gardening. I'm preparing my soil. I already start setting certain seeds. I have plants indoor that I'm trying to keep alive, alive to take them out in the spring. And the thing about it, guys, when you have plants indoors, you got to know how to water your plant, guys. It's important. You got to know how to water your plants, and always remember the mistake you make the year before. You got to correct them for the following year. But anyhow, if you as a gardener or you trying to grow food, grow the things you love. Grow the food you love, guys. Grow food you like. Grow the herbs you like. Grow things that you're gonna eat and you're gonna love and you're gonna enjoy. Sometimes when you grow the things you love, it make you pay more attention and it give you more edge to want to really make sure that these plants survive because say for instance you have a fruit tree. You have different fruit trees, but yes, you have different fruit trees, but at the same time, what you do, there's going to be a certain fruit that you love. So if you love a certain fruit, you're going to want to make sure you take care of that fruit tree. You see what I'm saying? You're going to want to take care of that fruit tree because you love these fruits. This is why I'm saying grow the things you love and enjoy. It's going to make you want to do more in your garden. It's going to make you want to see them grow. It's going to make you take more care of them. You want to take more care of them because you love them. It's something you growing that you love. There's a lot of people, as far as I'm getting to understand, that grows food, but they do not eat the food they grow. I don't know why. Like some people, they have fruits growing in their yard, garden or in their yard, but they will not eat the fruits. But they will go to the store and purchase the fruits. So this is real. You know what I mean? There's people not gonna like to hear this, but this is real. There's people who will not eat from a fruit tree that grows up in the garden, but they will go and buy it from the store. And this is for real. So sometimes it's really better for you to grow things you love. The fruit trees you love, try to grow the fruit trees you love. The vegetables you love, try to grow the vegetables you love. The thing about it too, guys, you see, gardening is a kind of thing where you got to definitely be, entwined. And when I say entwined, I also mean think about the process of gardening. Think about the process. Remember, guys, you have a growing season. And the growing season you have is only for a short period of time. Right? The growing season is only for a short period of time. Now you want to make sure that you grow enough. So in order for you to grow enough, you got to study. You got to sit down and study, guys. You got to sit down and study. What do I do? Or what do I plant? Or when should I plant them? Or when should I set these seed? Because you got to remember there's a lot of plants take months before they produce anything. So you want to know these things. So if you have a greenhouse, if you have a room indoors, if you have a garage, and guys, I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of things goes on in gardening. There's a lot of things goes on in gardening. And, people give a lot of information. But the truth of the matter of fact is, sometimes you got to experience it to realize, okay, this is real. Because a lot of plants, guys, sometimes you grow in different plants, and these different plants, I learn a lot. Oh, thank you, God. I'm not saying I'm not saying that it just showing up and it just disappearing after screen. So I'm sorry for that. But yes, plants. There's lots of different plants. Many different type of plants. And the thing about these things, plants so unique that plants their requirement is different. Many of these plants, their requirement is different. The things then one might need love water, the other might not love water. When I say love water, meaning some of them will require their root to be wet and soak at all time. And some of them only require the root wet and the water run off and they okay. These are things you have to do in order for great success and great harvest. You have to know these things. How you know these things? Study the plans. You see, this is why garden season never over. Because now you in the fall. This is the fall heading for winter. And this is when you should be doing a lot of research. This is when you should be doing a lot of research. When I say a lot of research, I'm not talking about go online. I'm talking about plants, studying your plants. For the people who grow indoors, many, you see, this is what I'm saying, guys. What I'm saying to you guys here today, this is facts. I'm not just speaking. This is facts. There's many people, and this is what does confuse me, because this is why you got to pay attention, guys, right? And learn for yourself. Because sometimes people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to do a setup for plants, maybe sometimes for even overnight, even overwintering plants. Some people might spend thousands, maybe hundreds of dollars. And the truth of the matter of fact is they didn't have to spend that amount of money. But because you might be watching someone and what they're doing sometimes, and all it takes a lot of money out of your pocket, which you didn't have to spend them. If you're in cold zone, like these zone that freeze, that always cold, it might be a little different. But when you're in certain zone that don't give you that freezing, you don't need to spend too much money trying to save any plants. Because I have fruit trees, and I'm going to give you guys a trick as well. I have tropical fruit trees, mango trees, golden apple trees, papaya trees. Indoors without a grow light, in a room without a grow tent. Lemon, soursop, sugar apple. All these plants I have growing indoors without a grow tent and doing well. You see what I'm saying? Or without a grow light. No grow light. All I have is a regular light up in the ceiling, shining down on them, and that keeps them. And tropical plant is more difficult to take care of indoors, because tropical plants, we know tropical plants prefer the heat, the sunlight. But all you're doing, you're only trying to keep them alive to take them out in the spring. That's all you're doing. Because number one, they're not going to produce. Number one, they're not going to produce anything in the indoors. They're not going to produce anything indoors. All you're trying to do is keep them that they could survive during the winter. So spending all this money and thousands of dollars to keep some plants, you ain't really got to do that. If you have a garage, you could spread a carpet on the floor and you can keep them in that garage with a regular light over them, and they will survive. Spending all this money to keep these plants. I have my tropical. Okay, all right. Okay, let me pay more attention to the chat. Yes. So, in the garage, you could rest them on a carpet because you don't want the coldness to penetrate their root. So you rest it on a carpet, and sometimes you don't even have to rest it on a carpet. Sometimes you just rest it like that. But I'm just saying, if you have a carpet, you could rest it on it so it's not going to penetrate, the coldness not going to penetrate. With a regular light over it, and they will survive. Don't overwet them too much, because that could create root rot and these type of stuff. Spending all this money is really not necessary. You see what I'm coming from? It's not necessary spending all this money to keep plants. Plants, let me give you a trick. You see, many people wait until the cold weather. Okay, hold on. All right. Many people wait until the cold weather strike, like 2 days before the cold weather strike. Many people now bringing in their plant. No, you can't do that. You got to bring in your plant at least a month before that frost, before that cold weather. Maybe a month and a half before that cold weather. So now these plants gonna start to adjust, because you got to remember, plants adjust. Plants adjust. So now, when you bring in these plants at least a month or a month and a half before the cold weather start approaching. So what's gonna happen? These plants gonna start to adjust themselves to the temperature, to the climate you create inside for them. So by the time the coldness comes off, they already adjust themselves. So they already adjust themselves because they're not getting the sun. It's been a month and a half since they did not get sunlight, didn't touch them. So they start to get used to that type of temperature and the type of climate that you create for them. That help you save a bunch of money. That helps you because the plant already adjusts itself to the temperature you have inside. So the plant understand that I'm not dealing with this heat. They're not getting that full sun anymore because you have them indoor. So when the coldness approach now, the plants already adjust themselves to the environment you create inside for them. So it make it easier for you to only have a light, a regular light over them, instead of you have to buy a grow light, because grow light ain't cheap. Grow light is not cheap. So, you know what I mean? You got to buy a grow light, you might have to buy a grow tent, you might have to buy all that. And all this costs money. And on this side, I'm not trying to spend money growing no food. If I can grow my food without spending any money, that's what I'm for. And this is what I'm trying to encourage you guys. You can do it. You can do it. You just got to try. If you don't try, you will never know. Don't run out there. Don't follow people and run out there and spending hundreds and thousands of dollars to keep a few plants indoors until springtime. What you can do, like I mentioned to you, if the cold weather begin, you know the cold weather going to be starting in a month, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you start bringing plants in to the different environment, because now these plants is not going to get no hot sun until next spring. So you want to bring them in, meaning while the temperature is good, You have that little warm temperature outdoors, but then I get in the sun. So when the coldness come, they adjust already. So all you need is a regular light over them. And I'm telling you this because this is facts I'm telling you here. It works, especially if you're in the warmer climate. Like if you're in areas where you might be getting a lot of snow, a lot of different type of, it might be a little more challenging. But anyhow, you in these zone 7 zone, 8 zone, believe it, it can work. Because I'm seeing it work. I don't believe in spending more money than I can harvest out my garden. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to spend $1,000 and I can't get $200 food out my garden. What sense is that? That don't make no sense to me. So my goal is to spend less and harvest more. So this is why I study and I think about every plant I plant in my garden. I study them. The ones I'm in the container, I study them because you want the most out of them. You see what I'm coming from? You want to know when is the best time to plant a certain plant. These guys, people might say, oh, you don't. Yes, you do. You need to know these information. This is how you get production. This is how you get your plants continue producing. Because you plant them in the right season, the right time. You got to know when, if you should plant a plant in March, or if you're supposed to plant it in April, because you got to understand, it changes from the winter into the spring. That's a transformation in the soil. And there's certain plant that you cannot plant in February because the transformation gonna mess with them. You see what I'm coming from? And there's certain plant you got to plant in April and not March. I'm telling you, these things, if you know these things, your garden will always produce in abundance. Your harvest will always be in abundance. Your plant will always be green and luscious because you know the season. You know when to plant them. And you also got to know when to, if you adding compost around them, you have to know these things, guys. One of the best time to add compost around a plant. Because what? When you grow in a garden, planting day, let's go to planting day. Planting day is a time, very beautiful, delicate time. This depends on you know. You the planter. Hey Destiny, oh says how you doing? This depends on you know the planter. Right? Planting days is very delicate and you have to know planting days as well. This is important, planting days. Now, in every garden, you should have your soil prepare, and ready for the spring. You should have your soil prep. Hey, Sissy, Texas Garden, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Yes, you're supposed to have your soil prep and ready before the spring. Now, when the spring come, you should be planting. This is what you should be doing. Not trying to add compost and no, compost supposed to be added already. When the spring come, you planting. All right? You planting. After you plant, you come out and you take care of the plants them every 3 days. You soften the soil around their root, and every 3 days you know what I'm saying? Now, after that, you're going to see the plants them start producing leaf, fresh, green, beautiful leaf. When you see that, they start pushing out the fresh, green, beautiful leaf. That means they start growing. Hey, how you do, TIG? How you doing? Thank you all for being here. Yes. So, when you see they start pushing out this fresh, green, nice little leaf, you give them a little tap of compost. Because now they push out new root. Just a little tap. Around them, a little tap of compost. Because the new root to the top, you putting out the compost to feed them. After that, all you're doing is taking care of them. Cleaning up, softening the root. That's all you're doing. You're not adding no more compost. The next time you're going to add a little compost is when they start pushing out flowers. When they start pushing out flowers, that's when you add a little compost. Why? Why you supposed to add a little compost? You remember a baby. All right, good to see you guys. I'm in the moonlight tonight. All right, Sissy Texas. I hear that. In the moonlight. Awesome, awesome. Yes. Now, guys, when you see that flowers start pushing, like your pepper, your okra, whatever pushing flowers, what you need to do at that time, because let me get a little demonstration. A woman, when a woman is pregnant, this woman needs certain food. She need nutrients. She need minerals because the baby, she got to get strength in her body because now she have a baby to feed. So she knows she got to take care of her body. It's the same thing with the plants. You have to take care of the mother. The plant, that this plant could feed all these fruits it have on the trees, all the peppers it have on the trees, all the okra. So that compost you're giving it now is for add more nutrient. So while it's growing, because while it's growing and it producing, this compost gonna be start melting away and help strengthening. And when I say compost, guys, I'm not talking about wood, you picking up wood chip. No, you need a compost that break down already. So by the time you wet it, it melt away around the root and start feeding the plant. So now the plant getting that nutrients. And now this plant, now you strengthening this plant to produce for you in abundance. Now this plant now gonna just produce. So why I'm telling you guys this? I'm telling you guys this because this is how you get the production out of each plant. When you have a pepper tree, you grow in a pepper tree. This thing's supposed to produce until the frost. Not grow a few little pepper and then it stop. No. These things designed to produce. But we got to know how to feed them. And you can't add wood chip and expect the wood chip to feed the plant, guys. Wood chip take times to break down. You need to find this compost, the one that break down. The one that break down fine. By the time you wet it, it melt and start feeding the plant. Because at that moment, when these plants start pushing out flowers, at that moment is food they're looking for, nutrients, minerals. So you got to be ready to give that to the plant. Because now this plant needs strength. Because now you remember this plant reached to a mature stage now where this plant is just pushing out food. So if you want the plant to push out food, what you got to do? You got to strengthen it. And you got to know how to strengthen it. So these are the things, man, to be successful. I'm not saying, guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you could grow your garden and you're not going to get food. I'm talking about more food. I'm talking about getting more out of a plant. I'm talking about a plant able to give you the maximum yield possible. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for food. I'm not just growing a garden just because I could grow a garden. I'm growing a garden for food. You see, for food to feed me, for feed my family, and if I want to give away, whatever. But I'm looking for food. Every year, I'm so grateful because every year I grow enough food that I can give away as well. Every year I grow enough food for me and my family and able to give away at the same time. That's a blessing. And how that? It's about it's about studying your plants, guys. Study these plants. Every year you plant, you're supposed to know about them more. Every season, you're supposed to know about them more. Every year, you're supposed to get better. You're supposed to get better and better. And I want you guys to be successful. This is why I'm trying to share this information. That not to say you got to take everything I say, but there's things you can try to see for yourself. Because I know everybody have their own garden style, but nothing wrong with learning. Hey, AG, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Blessings. Yes, but nothing wrong with learning from others. And for the people who know me, who know what I do, you know, I'm a believer in growing natural food. I think it tastes better. I think the nutrients you when you eat the food you could naturally feel the strength in you that you feel like you eat something that helps your body. And that's what I'm trying to do. The type of food that loaded with nutrients, that mineral, that's what I'm trying to grow. I'm not just trying to grow food. I'm also trying to grow food that could nourish my body, my mind, my spirit, everything. Because you don't want to be sick. You don't want to be. Yeah, I mean, sickness come, but sometimes we, if we can prevent it, it can help us. If we can prevent these sickness from coming on us, we can help. It could benefit us because we want to see our grandchildren. We want to see our grandchildren running around. We want to able to see that. We want to able to play with them for a minute. So we if we're growing, take that extra time out and grow your food natural. If you have space, I've been saying this for about a million times. If you have space in the fall, all these leaves that drop down on the ground, scrape them and put them in a corner and just leave them. Whether if you're doing container, do the same thing. Just leave them. They're gonna break down and turn into compost that you could add in your container, that you could add in your raised bed, wherever. The good thing about leaf and the tree trunk, the body of the tree, the good thing about these things, when you add them in your soil, whether your container or in ground raised bed, wherever, when you add them in your soil, what they do something. What they do, they create something in your soil that it prevent your soil from getting too hard. You see what I'm saying? That softness in between, especially if you mix it in with the dirt, it kind of prevents your soil from getting too hard, and that's what you need. Like you growing potato. Beautiful compost to leave for potato. Why? Because potato need this type of softness that they could grow and push their roots and produce bigger potato. So that soft texture helps these type of plants. So leaf and the body of trees that break down and rotten away, you mix that up in your soil, it make your soil, it take longer or it's harder for your plants to get, for your soil to get hard, because that softness in between. And guess what it do also? It keep moisture within your container. It keep moisture within your soil. These things are very important, guys. These leaves you see blowing around your garden, get a rake, scrape them up, put them aside in the corner. You'll be surprised. All right? Right now, that's what I'm doing. Right now, I'm preparing my garden. Now we're heading for the winter. But this is what I do. I prepare in the fall, into the winter, and just relax. In the ending of the winter, when it coming down, getting ready for the fall, I get in the garden and I start digging holes. So, like for my peppers, where I'm going to plant my pepper, I dig up that area there, where, dig it up. So now the area, when the spring hit, the area ready for the plant. The plant should never be waiting on the hole. The hole should be waiting on the plant. You see what I'm coming from? The plant should never be waiting on the hole. It's the hole should be waiting on the plant. Why? Because you fix the hole, you add the compost, everything done mix in, so all you're doing is ready for planting. Not you have the plant and then you now thinking about going and dig the hole and add compost in the hole. Prepare your soil in the fall, late winter. I guarantee you will see great success. I guarantee you. Because something magical happen in the winter and also the early spring. In the winter, transform into the spring, it's a magical time. That's when everything start to open up their eyes. Roots start to wake up themselves. Plants start to shoot out leaf, greenness. The place start to get green. Something magical happen. So when that time come, your plant should be there, ready to go. Not there waiting for you to fix the soil. The soil should be ready. And once the soil ready, you will have a successful garden season. And like I said, when you add in compost, add some, when the plant take off, when you see the plant start to get green and beautiful, add some compost. The next time you're going to add compost is when the plants start producing flowers. That's important, guys. So these are some real key information I've shared with you guys. And I've been always sharing with you guys. Information. The information I give is not for you to go out there and spend a bag of money and then you spend more than you harvest. You spend thousands of dollars to prepare a garden and you barely could harvest $200 worth of food out of it. It doesn't add up to me. Spend less, harvest more. That's our goal. Spend less in the garden, harvest more. Now, there's a lot of people who don't have the space. There's a lot of people who don't have the resources, like grabbing the trees, the leaves. There's a lot of people don't have that. So we understand that. So you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You just do what you got to do what you can to make it work. But there's people who have space and don't even know how to utilize that space. I'm telling you, I watch some people around them, there's trees around them. Trees. Around their garden, there's trees around their garden. Like a forest behind them. And last spring, I see they have a truck, a pickup truck, loaded with compost. You see what I'm saying? I see they have a pickup truck loaded with compost. And I'm saying, man, you guys have all the compost right there to the edge of your garden and don't even know it. You go on and buy compost, hundreds of dollars in compost, and you have natural compost right in your garden. So this is what I'm saying. So this information is for enlightened people, that if you have these space and these areas, you don't have to go to these. You could go and scrape. You could grab a rake. You could grab a rake and go to the edge of your garden by the trees and just start raking, and you see what's under there. You see what's under there. So, I'm just trying to let people know that if you have these resources, make use of them. You don't have to go out there and spend all this money, and then your harvest is still not in abundance. You're spending more than you harvest. That don't make sense. Indoors, don't spend more than you should in an indoor garden, even though you... Remember, guys, hear me out. All you're trying to do is to keep these plants alive. When I say alive, keep their roots alive. That's all you're trying to do. They're not going to produce inside. When I say they're not going to produce inside, like if you have fruit trees, they're not going to produce inside. There's a lot of plants not going to produce inside because they need that sunlight to give them that energy. They need more than just a light. So don't go out there spending a bunch of money telling yourself you have to do this and you have to do that for these plants to survive. Like I was saying earlier, if you know your frost gonna be coming, like your cold weather gonna be start coming in October, start bringing in your plant early September. If you're bringing them indoors, start bringing them early September. Let they get used to living without the sunlight, because we know how the sunlight is important. So by the time October reach and the weather change, they already adapt to the climate in your garage or indoors. So you don't need to go out there and spend $1,000 in grow lights and all these things to keep these plants. You can keep them with a regular light over them. All right? Like I mentioned, if you're in a colder place, like beyond zone 7, going up zone 6, you might need different, which, if you have them indoors, Once they ain't going down to freezing mark, where you have them, they will survive. All right? Once the room you have them into ain't going down below, say 30, 35, they will make it. If your room going down under 20, please don't, you need something to heat up the room. But once if that room able to stay above 50, they will make it. 40, they will make it with a regular light. And if you just try it for yourself. I have mango tree, papaya tree surviving with a regular light. And these are real tropical plants. If the coldness hit them, they drop off all the leaf. 1 to 3, everything fall apart. Not even the frost. I'm talking about the coldness. Hit them, not the frost. If the coldness hit them, hold on, guys. Yeah. Yes. If the coldness hit them, they drop all their leaf. They drop all their leaf. But they're surviving with a regular light. Once the temperature is not going down below 40, once it going down below 30, then you got to have a heater or something in that room. But I'm saying you don't have to spend a bunch of money in order to keep these plants. All right? You don't have to. And it don't make no sense spending hundreds, thousands of dollars. Hey, Bessie Johnny, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Yes, and you don't need to spend thousands of dollars trying to keep no plant alive inside. And then you barely could get a fruit from them. Or you barely could get some vegetable, whatever from them. It don't make no sense. Just make sure you have them in an area where the temperature is not going down under 30 degrees, I say under 40 degrees. Once you're able to maintain that, and they have that light over them, they will survive. I'm not about spending money in gardening. I'm about production. That's what I'm about. Production. Meaning able to harvest as much as possible. You can do it without spending a bunch of money. All right? You can do it. If you look at me and you will see I do it. All right? I do it. I have tropical plant just growing in a room, no grow light, no grow tent, and they're doing well. Now, I have some peppers I'm overwintering, but I ain't see them pepper for like a week now. Yeah, like a week now. So I'm hoping that the weather did not destroy these peppers. But because I'm not around them, so I'm hoping that the weather. But if I was around, I want to make sure that, I give them air. Because, you got to give them, I have peppers outdoor that I'm overwintering in the ground. And this is in zone 8. I have pepper overwintering. Okay, I have regular light in the storage. Oh man, the messages disappeared real fast, TIG. But you saying you have regular light and it working for you. That's what I'm trying to tell the people. Don't study people and go out and spend a bunch of money. You don't have to. A regular light. This is one thing you got to remember. These plants is not going to produce. You're not looking for them to produce. You're looking to keep them for the spring. So in the spring, you take them out and they continue growing. That's what you're doing. So all these extra, sometimes you really don't need it. And all these grow light, they take electricity. There's a lot of electricity. So it's causing you money. You're buying all these extra stuff, let me see. As long as a window with the, okay, all right, right. And if you have a window, that even better. But guess what? The room I'm doing this experiment into ain't even have a window. All I do, I have a vent that air could come in and escape. That's all. A small vent. You understand? And they're walking beautiful. So from my experience, I could come and say, you don't need to go out there and spend a bunch of money on grow light, on grow tent, and all these extra stuff. So now, there's people. Let me see. The flowers still bloom, and the fig and citrus. Oh man, the message them disappeared so fast. But as far as I see, TG, you do it. You getting great success without grow light. Exactly. 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 So don't go out. I saw your room and some of your video. Exactly. Right. Yes, I post a couple videos showing the plants them with a light, no windows, one bulb up in the ceiling, and they're doing well. So this is why I can say today, do not go out and spend a bunch of money. And you know what? This is for the people who might have a little garage, who might have a little spare room, or who might have a little space. You can bring your, if you have plants outdoors in containers, or if you want to overwinter the plants, if you have the space, you can put them in your garage, in an area in your garage, and they survive without grow lights. This is facts. Without grow light, without a grow tent. So don't get discouraged if you don't have a grow light or if you don't have a grow tent. Still bring them in and try and see for yourself. Bring them in and see for yourself. So don't get, because there's a lot of people who might want to overwinter plants. And just because they don't have a grow light, or they mightn't have a grow tent, they believe they cannot do it. But yes, you can. You can. So don't give up. Don't discourage yourself, guys. This is garden season coming up pretty soon. We in December, January, February, March for some people. For some people, April. For some people, May. But garden season is coming. You got to gather all these information you need and be prepared and ready. Because time is getting hard and it's not getting any easier. And we got to be able in some form or the other to feed ourselves in case the truck break down. in case there's the supermarket closed, in case there's no electricity, in case there's a disaster and you can't go to the store and buy anything, at least you have some food. All right? So we have to try to be independent in some form of the other. Don't depend on for everything. So this information is good information, guys. Look, try to learn as much as you can. There's a lot of people giving out good information, and also there's a lot of people giving out information that they don't even, that they just Google. So you, at the same time, you got to pay attention to the information you're receiving. This is why, what I'll say, try it, see for yourself, see if it works for you. All right? Try. If you gather information, you try and see if it works for you. Because sometimes it might just do. And you know, this is why, guys, I try to show a lot. If you notice, I do live from my garden. Because when I say something, when I show it live, no one could say, well, oh, no, no. I show it live. You see what I'm saying? People could just rig up videos and edit and patch and tell you all kind of BS. But sometimes, if you notice, I show you live. I grow 10-foot pepper tree. What I do, I measure them. I stand up on the ladder and show you live. I'm on a ladder. You see what I'm coming from? So, you still got to be careful on the information. Some people will give you information and it's about pushing your hand in your pocket. It's about, you know, instead of they encourage you that you might have a container in your garage, instead of they encourage you, that's a good, you know, use what you have. They tell you go in your pocket. They tell you go in your pocket and go to the store. It's not about how expensive the container is. Once a container is big enough for the plant, that's what's important. Not how much you pay for it. Sometimes I just use containers that I have for 5 years. I still use container 5 years old. And I'm not going to throw them away. Because they're working. And I'm not intended to go out and spend hundreds of dollars when I can use what I have and still able to harvest in abundance. I think you should still do some research when, oh gosh, I didn't even get to read that TIG. It just disappeared. But what I see you say research. Well, listen to me. You should do your research and you should do your experiment. You see what I'm coming from? Even though you get information from someone, you still got to do your research and your experiment. Why your experiment is important? Because that's how you learn. You see what I'm saying? This is why I prefer experiment. Because you could get information and there's a bunch of other people's opinion. But once you do it and you learn and you see for yourself, that's experiment for me. You see, and that's what I do. I love to do experiment. Like the plants I'm in the room, that's an experiment for me. You see, I want to see if these plants able to survive without sunlight, without a grow light, without a window. So I decide I'm not putting a grow lights in there. I'm going to use a regular light. And so far, wait, let me see. Yes, you have to try out the things to see if they work. Yes, I agree with that. You have to try because that's the only how you're gonna know. You see? Try, see how it works for you. In your zone, you try, see how it works in your zone for you. Alright? But gardening is a beautiful time, man, and it's a tie. Okay. Gardening is a beautiful time and the season is coming. And let me tell you, it's gonna be a beautiful season. But the best thing I'm gonna tell you to do right now, if you didn't put your soil together in your container or your raised bed, you should try to do that now. Because you want your soil to be ready for the spring. You want your soil to be ready. So when you plant take off. You don't want them to be there struggling. Because the more they struggle, is the more time they take. You only have a certain growing season. You only have a certain length. So you have no room for these mistakes. Especially if your frost coming in October. You want to be planting that these plants could produce as much as they can before that frost hit. So when that frost hit, you already happy because you harvest so much already that you okay, you content. You feel proud because these plants produce so much. I'm telling you right now, every plant I put in the ground give back so much to me. So much. My harvest don't stop. My God, my last harvest was the day before Thanksgiving. Harvest about 10 pumpkins, 20 something bell pepper, and almost a bucket of Eddos. So what I'm saying is, yes, some people don't have the length of growing season I have. That's why I'm saying prepare your soil now. So when the spring come, you're ready to plant. And by the time you plant, your plants are going to take off because you don't have a long growing season. And you want to get the most out of your plant. Not just a few little things. No. You put time in this garden. You put money. You put effort. So you want your reward should be satisfying. So what I'll say to you before I end this live tonight, study whatever zone you're in. Study the plants you grow. See which month works for them better. Like for instance, me, if I want to get a great harvest in cabbage, I got to plant them February. That's the only how I could get a great harvest in cabbage. If I plant cabbage in the fall, they turn seed. If I plant cabbage in January, they turn seed. I got to plant them in February. So you see, I studied that and I realized this come from experiment. This is how I know I cannot plant cabbage in the fall. Neither can I plant them in January. I got to plant them in February. You see? And others get beautiful cabbage if I plant them in February. If I plant them earlier, they turn seed. So, in your zone, you should know when to plant. your plants them. You should know which month is better to plant them. You know, guys, especially for the new gardeners, there's a lot of information I give out here tonight. But just take it easy and learn along the way for the new gardeners. Don't try to do too much, because plants need care. And you don't want to plant more than you could take care of. Because if you don't take care of them, they're not going to give you as much as you expect. You could plant less and harvest more. And you could plant more and harvest less. Why? Because you wasn't able to take care of them. Sometimes you plant 2-3 tomato trees, and these things produce like it's 20 tomato trees, because you give them that care. You could plant 20, and if you're not able to take care of them, these same two might give you more. That, you see where I'm coming from? So it's always about the caring. And the best time to take care of them is when they're young. When they're young is the best time to take care of them. And when they start pushing flowers, it's another delicate time, because this is a transformation here. You remember, like a woman, when a woman making baby, they say the first 3 months is very delicate. Same with the plants. When they start pushing flowers, very delicate. You cannot, when plants start pushing flowers, the best manure for give them is natural manure and natural compost, however you want to put it. They love that. But yes, guys, thank you guys as always for coming out tonight. I hope this live tonight has able to help someone. I hope it could help motivate someone tonight. Garden season is coming, and I just want to encourage you guys to grow something, whether it's in a container, whether it's in a raised bed. Yes, whether it's in a raised bed, whether it's in whatever you can, guys, grow something. It could help you spiritually, physically, and mentally. And it also can help your health. Think about what you're growing and grow things you love. If you love fruits and you love a peach, then grow a peach tree, because that's what you love. If you love a plum, then grow a plum tree, because that's what you love. Whatever you love, you grow. Because guess what? Thank you for sharing with us. I can't wait. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. It's a beautiful time coming. So guys, you guys have a blessed and wonderful night, and I'll see you guys soon. All right? Blessings.